Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Roadie and the Horn podcast. My name, as usual, Donovan. I'm here with my good friend Ryan. Ryan, how are you doing today?
You know, Donnie, I'm actually doing outstanding. I'm so glad you asked me that question. You know, I'm just so excited to be here right now, recording a podcast, talking about sports. Like, wow, like I couldn't ask for anything more.
And that is our main purpose here. That is the main goal of what we do. Sports are happening, including the biggest sporting event in the world, or at least the biggest sporting event in America. I'm thinking they're probably not Olympics big, but we have the Super Bowl coming up, and I think that's it's something we've definitely talked about a lot here. But it's I'd say this is the pinnacle of your season, in terms of as a viewer, especially you, and I think that you would agree with me on that one.
Yeah, I am very excited. I'm very sad that football is coming to an end, but no, I am going to enjoy watching football this Sunday. Literally, we always say, like, oh, this Super Bowl could be the best one. Like, we're obviously going to say that, but like, man, Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady, like, what? Like, I think we could be talking about this one for a long time. This is a great quarterback matchup, so I really can't wait. Like I said, I got Kansas City. I mean, come on. They're 16-2 this year, and their two losses were one in a Week 17 game to the Chargers that meant nothing, and the other was to the Raiders, who, the Raiders are okay, but they beat the Raiders later in the year anyway. So, I mean, I like Kansas City. I think they've been the best team in the NFL this year, but I'm super excited for it. But, Donnie, how about you? What do you expect?
This may be objectively the best Super Bowl quarterback matchup in the history of the game, in terms of at least what we're looking for. Obviously, we've had some good ones in the past, but Patrick Mahomes is by most accounts the next maybe challenger to be the GOAT, the best quarterback in the league, best quarterback ever, which is obviously not it's not an easy task to get to that point. And then you have Tom Brady, who is by the majority of accounts the best quarterback ever at this point. I think most would agree on that. So I can't really remember a time when we had a better quarterback matchup in terms of I don't know, potential to be the greatest of all time. Obviously, we've had great Super Bowl matchups before, but I can't remember a time we had Tom Brady, who is again the GOAT of most people. I think most people would say that he's the GOAT at this point. And then Patrick Mahomes, I think most people would say he will be the GOAT by the end of his career, or he will at least rival Tom Brady at that point.
Yeah, it's a great matchup. I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, both teams got crazy offensive weapons around them. It should be a really, really good matchup. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, at least we don't have to deal with Jimmy Garoppolo in the Super Bowl this year. But yeah, I think we've both made our predictions already. I think I'll take the Chiefs fairly, maybe not handily, but I think the Chiefs will be able to handle regardless. I've been doing a lot of thinking because last week, if you missed last week's podcast, we talked a little bit about how we thought that the home field advantage would help the Bucs or do anything for the Bucs. And I've seen a lot of people have this discussion on Twitter, and I don't think anybody's really got a consensus on this, which usually you would say, oh, home field definitely adds a couple points towards the home team. Obviously home teams win more often than road teams, just how it is, having the crowd and everything. But I think it's just different when you're playing the Chiefs. The Chiefs are just a different animal. And I mean, imagine the Chiefs if they had all their players healthy, or at least had like Duvernay Tardif, who is currently working on the front lines of COVID. Imagine this Chiefs team had they had all of their players. Like, we could be talking potentially an undefeated season right here. Maybe not beating the Raiders early on the season, but we could potentially be talking about an undefeated season, or one of the best regular seasons and playoff runs we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it's a great matchup. Donnie, are you placing any bets on this game Sunday? I want to know.
I'm waiting to see what the odds boosts are from certain DraftKings or FanDuel. I'm skeptical because whenever I bet football, it doesn't go well. Football betting has been one of the low points of my sports betting career, the short sports betting career that I've had here, and it has not gone well. It is really, because it's like we've talked about this before, but the Cardinals, the Cardinals had 2 weeks during the season where they were the last leg of a parlay and they didn't win, and it just, I feel like anything, if I bet on the Chiefs, they'd probably end up losing. It's just my luck. I have very, very bad luck in these situations. I don't think I'm going to place anything. Are you going to place anything?
Yeah, I'll probably throw a little bit on Chiefs money line. I don't have a great feel. I think it's a good matchup, but like I said, I kind of lean Kansas City, so I don't know. We'll see how things go, but I'm thinking Chiefs money line, and I'll throw it right before the game starts.
I think that's fair. I would assume the lines will get even closer than they already are. But yeah, I think we can move on here to just talk about some other things. We've definitely there's one interesting thing that I saw that just popped up a little bit ago, and it was the SEC revenue report. I don't know if you saw this. It was an athletic article on how much money the SEC made. I just want to touch on this really quickly. The SEC reported $657.7 million in revenue in the 2019 to 2020 academic year. Think about how much. I was gonna say something. Think about how much money that is off of college sports, off of, I would say, very, very primarily college football, and we're still at the point where these guys are not being paid for what they do. Obviously, we've had discussions recently and try to change that and everything, but they made $660 million off of SEC, what would be primarily be the SEC football, and we're still at this point where it's like, every team's making $45 million off of players that don't get paid for playing. Like, it's a little bit ridiculous to me, and we talked about this before, but I felt like I would share because we don't usually have these numbers. $660 million, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Definitely, it mostly came obviously from the TV money. I mean, SEC obviously has a big deal with CBS, and it seems like that will continue to go up. You mentioned that article in The Athletic, and it says the SEC will make even more than 3 years when they will add on Disney and ESPN, and they'll get an extra $245 million a year. So awesome, the rich get richer. So shout out to the SEC. But yeah, I mean, it seems like there are current events that are going on that seems like it is pushing more towards the fact that we could get to see players start to be able to collect some money in college athletics, but unfortunately that's not the case right now. But yeah, to your point, yeah, a lot of money is going on that the players are making none of. So yes, that is a fact.
Yeah, it's really shocking to me. I guess we can move on to some quick NHL talk before we get into questions. You're not very happy with the Chicago Blackhawks still to this day. I'm not very happy with the New York Rangers still to this day. We're having a tough start to the season, I think, for both of us. Is there anything that you would care to elaborate on with the Blackhawks here, or are you pretty much in the same state that you were a couple weeks ago?
No, pretty much in the same state. The Blackhawks, not a great team. Pia Suter had a hat trick one time. That was kind of funny. I didn't really
He
expect
did.
that to happen. But Patrick Kane, obviously he's leading the team in scoring, so you can't complain. I mean, the Blackhawks still have Patrick Kane. I love watching Patrick Kane. That's always a good time. But the Blackhawks are bad, and they're probably going to pick very high in the draft. That's really the hope. That part of it has certainly not changed.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Although, we've talked about this time and time again, Chicago, they're still fighting here. If they win tonight, they'll have 12 points in 12 games, which, an 82 point pace for a regular season, an 82 game season, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Would probably be overperforming for them. But yeah, I think I'm in the same spot with the Rangers. I'm kind of just like, yeah, at this point, I'm hoping for a high pick because it just seems like the division, especially with Boston has 16 points, Philly has 16 points, Washington has 15 points, and then you have like Pittsburgh and the Islanders who are obviously going to fight out for the fourth spot. And it's like it's come to the point with me, the Rangers have had so much fuckery to go on this year, starting with Henrik Lundqvist, and now they're just not good. And as of recording right now, it's 6:53 my time, and they're up 2-1. They're about to go to the third period. I can almost guarantee that they will give up 6-7 high danger chances in the third period. And they could very well either lose the lead entirely or go to overtime in this game when they should be comfortably in the lead. But that has been Rangers hockey the last couple of years, and this is something that we have established this is normal, this is real, and this is how it's going to be. Obviously, I'm not in the same situation as you because watching the Blackhawks must be just painful. But I'm sitting here not very thrilled at what's happening for me either. So I mean, I guess we can say we're both in the same boat at this point in terms of the National Hockey League.
Yeah, we still root for very bad teams, but there's a lot of other great action, going around. We love to say that in our group. There's a lot of great
There's
action
great
going
action
around
around
the
the league,
league.
that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. The Canadian division, I've actually watched quite a bit of games over there in the Canadian division. That's been pretty fun. Obviously, the North for you technical people, but it's the Canadian division. But Vancouver, they've kind of been off to a tough start, but I've watched some of their games. Montreal's been fun to watch as well. Winnipeg, obviously McDavid and Edmonton as well. So there's definitely been some good hockey, and the Canadian division is definitely one that I've watched a good amount so far.
Yeah, if you like high scoring hockey, that's a division to watch. It's just at this point, Montreal puts up 6 goals a night, especially if they're playing Vancouver because Tyler Toffoli is the best player in the league. The Leafs score a lot, shocker. They also give up a lot of goals, and then we've seen teams like Winnipeg and Calgary not really know what to do. Ottawa's really really bad. They give up a bunch of goals. If I'd say if you are a newbie, if you are a beginner in learning hockey and getting into the league, watching the East for good hockey is probably the way to go. But watching the North for fun hockey is really just, if you want to learn the sport or at least see goals, see action. These teams fight a lot. There's a lot of chippy hockey. I'd say that's the way to go about it. No,
Yeah,
you know,
we're here for fun.
no offense to the Central. Nobody really wants to the Blackhawks. And then the West is very top heavy. But if you're looking for fun hockey, look for the Canadians. Just how it's going to be. But other than that, I think we can head straight into our questions. Do you have anything else you'd like to touch on before we get into our 24 questions that we have?
No, we got a ton of questions. We had some questions that we got even last week that we didn't get to, so we're gonna get to them now. So we got a ton of questions. I'm excited. Donnie, pick some out. Let's go. Let's start answering some people's questions here.
Yeah, I've decided, Eric18 Utah on Twitter, Eric Jensen, the man, the myth, the legend. I think we've talked about him once or twice before. And obviously everybody from the group chat knows a lot about him. He actually has some legitimate questions, and we'll start with just his analysis, his thought process here. What's the rundown on the Central Division of hockey? They seem bad, but are they really that bad, or are they just going to beat each other up all year? I think we can start with you here, considering you're a fan of a Central team. I think my quick analysis would be Tampa's really good. Everybody else is not so good compared to them. And I think that's probably fair. What have you seen from your division so far?
Yeah, it has not been the most pretty. I would definitely agree. I think Tampa is definitely the best team in the division. Obviously, they sit atop of the division right now. I think Carolina is also definitely a good team. Definitely no pushover. They've been in the playoffs. They've had success in the playoffs recently, so I like definitely what I see from Carolina. But the rest of the division, it's very average. I mean, Dallas, they kind of had that late start for coming back from COVID. I think they've played actually some pretty good hockey. Obviously, they were in the Cup final last year. Still a very good team. So I think it's just taking a little bit of time for them to get going, but I think there definitely are some good teams in there. I mean, there's some middling teams, no doubt. Florida, Columbus, Nashville, then obviously Chicago and Detroit kind of chilling there at the bottom. Nashville not having a good year either. But so there's a lot of mediocre hockey going on for sure. Definitely going to acknowledge that. But I think there's some good teams in that division that could go deep in the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. That's good analysis, especially because I think it's very hard when you're a fan of a team to admit that they're just not that good. And I think you have been very candid and upfront on I don't know, just the fact that they're not good. The Blackhawks are not good, and their division is going to just run them. I definitely respect you using your brain. You're very pro
Thank you, Donnie.
realism.
I'm glad to hear you say that.
Realistic expectations, because I think a lot of people see. It's like I was telling you. I think they're better than you think they are, or better than you thought they would be. They're still semi-competitive. They play semi-competitive hockey, but it's like obviously the goaltending it has caught up to them. Lankinen's been all right, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we could have all said at the beginning it was going to be Tampa at the top, and then you have Carolina and Dallas and Columbus and Nashville and Florida and all those teams fighting each other.
Yeah, a lot of blah.
Yeah,
That's how I describe
it's
it.
just Tampa's clearly just maybe the best team in the league, I'd say, or at least up there. And I think that's exactly what we were expecting. Out of I don't know. It took them so long to win, and it's like if they repeated this year, I'd be like, yeah, I know, it totally makes sense. I think.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We'll move on to another Eric question. Why is the national media overlooking the Jazz, and what are your thoughts on the Jazz? Just to clarify a little bit, Utah is currently 16-5. They have the best record in the entire NBA through 21 games, which is totally surprising considering I think everybody thought it was going to be a Giannis, LeBron masterclass in the individual conferences. Obviously, Brooklyn's really good too. But you have a Utah Jazz team that's sitting at 16-5, and you don't really hear much about it. I don't know if you watch much, ESPN or you.
Oh yeah,
but you don't.
I've seen the Jazz this year.
Yeah, you don't hear much about the Jazz in terms of like the highlights and all that. They don't get television time, and why is that?
I think honestly the best answer I can give you is like a lot of times you're not going to get that national respect until you prove yourself in the playoffs. So even though Utah, like they've been really good this year, like you watch them, Donovan Mitchell is going off. Like he's one of the best players in the NBA. Like this guy's had a crazy year so far. But until you're able to prove it in a playoff series, I mean, rightfully so or not, like they haven't taken down a team like the Lakers or a team like the Clippers. Like until you're able to prove it in a playoffs, it's just tough to get that respect. Utah, they're on the come up. I definitely, like what they're doing. I think they've definitely got potential to go far. Off to a good start so far this year. But I think in terms of when are you going to get that national credit, I think that doesn't come until you're able to prove it and at least get to the conference finals, if not even the finals.
I think that's fair. That's something that you don't think about often. It's like especially because it's only a 20-game run. It's like they could very well come back down to earth, and nobody would be really surprised, especially because the Lakers and Clippers and all those other teams are still very, very talented. They're still, quite apparent at as a high end entity. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's probably partially because they're from Utah and the base is just not there. The
Yeah,
fan base
also
is not
fair.
nearly as large as the many others. But like, yeah, just maybe a lackluster, a lack of success long term.
Yeah. Only been
In
to
the
the conference
playoffs.
finals is the most recent time they were in the conference finals was 2007, and then they made it to the conference semifinals in 2017 and 2018. But you need to get further than that. You need to prove it in the playoffs before you're going to get that respect. Rightfully so or not. They've looked really good this year, but I think that's what it's going to need to take.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's good analysis. And we'll go with one more Eric question here. He says, if you had to pick a parlay in the Premier League this weekend, who would you pick and why? So, RK, I know you do not follow Premier League soccer
I've got
in
it
the
pulled up though, so I
slightest,
will give you
but
picks.
but he's prepared, which is really what we're looking for. I want you to give me two teams that you would put together and guarantee victory from them. What are we thinking?
Okay. Well, I certainly can't guarantee nothing, but I'm like, this is now your can't lose parlay. Okay, I really now that I'm looking at this, I'm literally just picking out teams. So you know what? I'm gonna pick Chelsea as one of them. They play Sheffield United on Sunday, so I like Chelsea as one. And then my other team, I'm gonna go with Arsenal against Aston Villa.
You know, that's definitely an interesting one at that point. Arsenal is actually below Aston Villa in the standings right now. But if
Upset.
they did
It's good
win,
value.
it is good value. If you pick a winner and that team wins, you are going to get good value out of that. So your parlay would currently be sitting at let's see, it would be a plus 280, which is really not bad for a two
Okay,
teamer. And Chelsea should
not
slap up
bad. I
Sheffield
feel good
United.
about Chelsea. Yeah, I feel
Sheffield
good about
United
Chelsea. I know
is
that.
literally the bottom of the league. They're bottom of the barrel. They're trash. So I give. I'm not even gonna give my answer. We're going with that one. That's the can't. That's
Love
the
it.
can't lose. It's the must win parlay. And if it loses, yell at RK. Don't yell at me.
Yeah,
Don't
I'll
also
I'll take full blame. If Sheffield United pulls off the upset, that one's on me.
don't take our advice too. That's another thing. Don't. We are not advisors. We are not
No,
advising
take
your
our
financials.
advice.
I mean, if
Take
you
our
want,
advice. Lose
take
your
his
money.
advice.
Lose
Take
your
it.
money.
Yeah, if you want. If you want to lose your
Do
money,
it.
so be it. That's fine. Um, okay, well, we'll go to obviously the most frequent question asker in terms of how many we get outside of Scotty G.
The goat.
Obviously, um, he hates lettuce. The first question that Josh asked us is, "What do now?" And that's something that I'd like you to answer.
Yeah.
What do now?
It, it's a great thought. I read it today on Instagram when Josh put it in, and I was like, I don't know. I've never been so flustered by a 3-worded question. So for that, I'm just gonna tip my imaginary cap to Josh. That was a well-worded question.
It reminds me of Kevin from The Office when he just decided not to use many words. He said, oh, why use many word when few do trick? Type deal. What do now? Really, that's a question you can ask just about anything. Like if you're sitting in a situation in life, you
Yeah,
just
you
don't
know
know
what I
where you're
thought of,
going.
Donnie?
What do
I
now?
don't know why. I don't know why I thought of this, but I literally thought of Mr. T yelling, "What do now?" I don't know why that is, but that's exactly what I thought of.
You know, okay. If you can find a clip of Mr. T yelling, "What do now?" We'll
I don't know
definitely.
why. That's just what I thought of.
Yeah, I'm just gonna ignore that one at this point.
It's a Josh question. I mean, what do you
That, that
expect?
that is the definition. Usually, Josh question, you get a couple good ones, and then you get to the bottom, and then you have the stupidity. But we're starting right off with what do now, and that's a real
Yeah,
shocker from him. But we can move on. Heads or tails for the Super Bowl coin flip. Obviously, it's one of the biggest events of the season in terms
tails,
of betting. That and
tails,
the anthem. How long it's gonna
lock in
go.
tails,
You're calling tails? I think tails never
lock it.
fails. I think tails
Yep.
never fails. It makes too
Because
much
like
sense.
here's the thing, like if it's tails, then someone's gonna be like, oh, tails never fails. But if it's heads, then you're like, oh, okay, respects. But you can't be in that situation where it's actually tails, and you're like, oh shit, like tails never fails. He's right.
Yeah, I mean, even when tails fails, it doesn't fail. Like it's just what can
Yeah.
tails do? Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. If I was gonna bet on it, I would bet tails. I'm not gonna bet on it because I'm not a fucking maniac. Um, you have to be a different type of fucking crazy to bet on the coin flip, and that's what we're gonna go with. Next question from Josh: Patrick Liner or Jack Roslovic? Who's winning the Conn Smythe this year? I'll take this one. Neither of them. All right, moving on. Do you guys know any Jets fans willing to trade a Line jersey for his Dubois jersey? I personally don't. RK, Any thoughts here? Any
Oh, I
insights?
actually do know a Winnipeg Jets fan, our friend Ian. He's asked questions here on the podcast before, but I am not sure if he has a Patrick Laine jersey. But I can find out that information and let you know.
Yeah, I think maybe if you tweeted it out, you might be able to find somebody low key. Like I don't think that would be that crazy of an ask. I don't know how many Jackets fans had Dubois jerseys. I think getting a Dubois jersey. I don't know. Um, that's a real question mark for me. If you tweet it, we will retweet it on our pod account, and I'll retweet it on NHL Daily if you want me to. That could definitely help boost your I don't know, boost your chances a little bit here. I don't know what to tell you. RK, I know you're just again another soccer question. MLS predictions for the season. What do you got?
The extent of my MLS knowledge comes from Josh when he talked to me about where Pat Segrist, his
Pat
friend,
Segrist, good
plays, and
man.
now it's in Miami. So my analysis is Miami. Obviously, they're winning it all. I don't even know what the name of their championship is in the MLS, but they're winning it all.
Okay. You're saying the Miami MLS team is winning it all. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, lock it in.
You
I
know,
don't, I don't know when we became a gambling podcast. I guess this one, but
yeah.
we're all locks.
I mean, if they all hit, then we're sitting there like, oh,
Yeah,
oh.
damn.
Um,
Throw this in a parlay.
I'll definitely go with. I think the team that everybody knows or most teams know is LAFC. LAFC, that definitely has had their success. And they were not as good this year in the bubble, whatever they did. But I'm gonna go with an LAFC resurgence here. I'm definitely thinking about if there's a Columbus team that Josh follows, they're not gonna do very well. They'll probably do fine. I think Columbus was one of the better teams
Yeah,
in the Eastern
Columbus Crew.
Conference last season.
Yeah.
Um, but I can't allow Josh to be happy. He hates lettuce, so we can't do that.
Chipotle lettuce, especially.
Yeah, we've already talked about this, but Super Bowl picks against the spread and over under. So this is an interesting question, I think, because I personally probably would not bet on either of these things. You really don't know what you're getting, especially the Chiefs. I don't know. They could have an offensive just masterclass. They could be useless, or their defense could fall apart. But the current spread is Chiefs -3, and the over under is 56. Arcade, do you have any thoughts here?
Well, I'm taking Kansas City, so I'll take him to cover 3 points. And over under, life's too short to bet the under. Give me the over.
Yeah, that's fair. That's definitely fair. And I think usually I see these betting quotes and whatever. I'm just like, yeah, this is stupid. But I agree with that. Actually, I truly agree with that. If you're not, like our kid remembers quarantine Russian hockey picks, you're betting the over.
Oh yes,
I didn't
the
know
short
anything about.
hockey.
I knew nothing about any of those guys. They were probably just going after work to play some hockey, and it was just televised or whatever. It was a
The
stream.
most prime bets that you were doing, Donnie, was the marble races, though.
Yeah, yeah. The marble race is just legendary. Like who? Why wouldn't you? It doesn't. Nothing makes sense. That's the thing. It just you just there. You like a color. You pick a
It's
color.
just
Bang.
pure randomness.
Yeah. There's
Yes.
literally no nobody has stronger legs. Nobody has a better game plan. They're just marbles, bro.
They're just marbles, yeah.
And that's the best part. And it's like life is too short to not bet marbles. I think I skipped this. He asked what my favorite Magic Treehouse book is. Do you have a favorite Magic Treehouse book? Do
No,
you
I
know what the
have no
Magic
idea.
Treehouse books are?
Yeah, I'm familiar with Magic Treehouse, most definitely. I definitely went to school in third grade.
Yes,
I was in
yes.
those classes. But
If
no,
you had to
I got
do,
this is not like, oh, what's your favorite like Eagles game from 2006? Like I don't know the Magic Treehouse that well,
yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah. I'm definitely gonna agree with you. I will say, I will shout out though, like Magic Treehouse books. If you were doing like a book report in like second or third grade, this was prime. This was key. If you're doing a Magic Treehouse book, because you're getting enjoyment out of these things, and you get a nice little SSR report out, and you're calling it a day. I don't have a favorite book. I really don't remember any of them. My memory is, I don't know if you should remember these things. They're trivial in the long run, but my memory is not serving me well in this situation neither.
Yeah,
So
that's what I'm
I'm
saying.
gonna take
I
it.
can remember like the fourth running back on LSU in 2006, but I can't tell you a Magic Treehouse book. Sorry.
Which is fine. I'll definitely give you a pass on that. Some things are important to you. Magic Treehouse book's not one of those things, and that's fine. Um, we have two more Josh questions because he went to town on this one today. Would you rather sleep in your room with a tarantula on the loose every night for a month, or sleep without blankets for a month? I definitely have an answer here, but I want to hear yours.
Yeah, I'm going with the blankets, and this is an easy decision. Josh acts like sleeping without blankets is literally like a crime against humanity. Like, oh my gosh, how is one supposed to be able to sleep without a blanket? Like, it's really
Oh,
not
is this
that
like a
big of a
real?
deal. Like,
This is a real concern of his.
well, I mean, the other option is with a tarantula. Like, why on earth would you want to pick that over just like not having a blanket?
Yeah, it's true. You'd be so paranoid. You'd have something like scratching up against you. It wouldn't be a tarantula, and you'd be freaking out. Um, it depends. So I'm gonna fudge the question a little bit. We're gonna pick the month of July, and I'm gonna sleep without blankets for the month of July because it's hot in July.
That's
July is
true.
always
It
hot.
does not specify which month. It just says a month.
Yeah, I mean, it could be any month. It could be I don't
That
know
was good thinking from
if
Donnie.
it's December.
That's a rare mistake from Josh. Actually, usually Josh's questions are so well worded that there's no loophole, but Donnie just found a great loophole. So plus
Yeah,
one Donnie.
usually we have grapes in the kitchen and you can't do anything. You have to eat them or make wine out of them or whatever. But this time there's a little mistake there. And we'll definitely go with that. Finally, if you won the lottery, what is the most obscure thing you would do with the money? This is a good question. This is genuinely a good question.
Um.
I thought about this one. I have an answer.
Wow. Most obscure thing, man. I don't know. I couldn't envision myself in this. So you have an answer, Donnie. I want to
Oh,
hear.
absolutely. Okay, so you know how they were like finding monoliths in like the middle of the desert? Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
What? What did you just say?
They were finding monoliths in the middle of the desert. I will
What
send
is
you
a
this.
monolith?
A monolith. Hold on, monolith. I'm gonna send you a link right now. I want you to read it up while I'm explaining. Okay.
Oh my goodness! Is this a
Okay. So
Discord link?
yeah, Discord. I'll send it to you on Discord right now. This is a live. This is a live. I want you to read this.
This is our
So for anybody
podcast.
that doesn't know, there were these little
This is Roadie on the horn.
shiny metal just blocks that were just plopped in the desert in Utah, and they were kind of
Oh yeah, I've seen this now.
I would do this everywhere. I would do this literally everywhere. I would spend so much money to get these monoliths made and just plop them in the middle of like New York City. I
Yeah.
plop them around the world.
Everyone's
I
like,
would
how did
spend
it get there?
That's the thing. You have to do it. If I'm spending money, I want it to be done perfectly. So I have to make sure that it is just hidden away. Nobody has any idea. Nobody has any footage seeing the monoliths being moved or getting there. I want to do this everywhere. Like I'll do this on your college campus.
Where do you buy
And,
these?
and,
Is
and
this on Amazon? You're just like, yeah, give me a monolith, one monolith, please.
you gotta think. You gotta think you can purchase it somewhere, or you can have somebody make it for you. Like you go to
Sure.
Home Depot. Like you could figure it out.
Home
It
Depot.
doesn't have to be metal. You can make it. You can make it out of stone. You can make it.
You just
I
gotta
don't know.
listen to the Home Depot theme song, and then you're like, here you go, you get a monolith.
Yeah, I mean that's the transaction. That's how that works.
Okay.
But that is.
I
That
don't
is
think I'm buying
absolutely.
a monolith. I don't know.
I'm not
Most
buying
obscure
one monolith.
thing?
I'm buying hundreds of
Gambling.
monoliths.
I think the most obscure. Okay, I would say Donnie actually wins this answer because my answer is way worse. But like, just buying a monolith, I'm saying gambling. Like, bro, like gambling is such a terrible idea. Like, what? I just put like $1 million on like a couple hands of blackjack. Like, why would I do that? That would probably be the most obscure thing I would do. I wish I had a better
Yeah,
answer.
if you were wildly rich though, like, well, let's say you won.
That's true. I guess I wouldn't even care.
You would
I do.
literally it wouldn't phase you, especially because I think if you're smart enough, you'd invest a percentage of that, a chunk of that, to a point where you're either gonna make
True.
more money,
Electric
or
cars.
just have you're big on the electric car, that's for sure. I think when you're that rich, it doesn't really matter to you. You can piss money on anything. Like you see some of this stupid shit that people buy, like celebrities buy, like they buy private planes or like massive yachts for themselves that they literally use twice or 3 times a year, maybe. Yeah, and spend hundreds of millions of dollars on it. You know, there was one thing that I was debating. I think I just want to buy an island. Like if I was really really rich, you buy an island and you get it like totally up to code. So you get it like
I don't know, Donnie. My first thought when you said that was Jeffrey Epstein. So I don't know.
no. I want an island where there's like I can get Wi-Fi and I can just build houses on it and stuff and just
You
like
can get
the
Wi-Fi.
top.
You want to buy an island of it Wi-Fi? Why don't you just
No,
live
like
in your
Firefest
house?
though. You know Firefest. I want to do Firefest except not fraudulent. Like I want Firefest except like not fucked up. Like I want to just buy an island and like make it into like a destination. Like you know how they have
You
the Fight
win.
Island for
You
the
win the
UFC right now?
obscure. You win the obscure choice.
They have Fight Island in the UFC. I want Fight Island except
Donnie
not
Island.
not No, I don't know. I just think when you have so much money, what does it matter in the world, in the world that you live in? When you have that much money, like, is your life, are you really living? And at that point, it just, I don't know. I think I'd be depressed having that much money. Honestly, it's like I just give a lot of it away and
Yeah.
call it a day.
Do what you're passionate about. Don't chase money.
I
There you
agree.
go.
I agree. I agree. We have a question from Joe at Average Joe Craig, who says, "If you were in a 100-yard race with Tyreek Hill and he has to run on his knees, how many seconds do you lose by?" Do you have an
I
answer for me?
I would definitely lose against Tyreek Hill running like a crab. I think he would destroy me still. I don't know. I think he beats me by 3.2 seconds.
I don't think that he wins if he's running on his knees.
I don't know, man.
I'm gonna be honest
I'm
with you.
not betting on myself in any race against Tyreek Hill. I don't care.
Okay, so we're saying he has to crab run.
Yeah.
Is that what? Okay.
Well, like running on your knees, like yeah, I would say I would allow that. I would allow that.
But don't you think he would be his body would be so tired after like 60 or 70 yards of doing that? Because it's such an unnatural motion. You're not supposed to do that, obviously. Like that'll fuck your body up.
I don't know. I'm not taking myself against Tyreek Hill.
I think that's fair. I'll say I'll lose by like 2 seconds, and I'll definitely be upset about it because it'll be on the internet, and I'll be that one kid that couldn't beat Tyreek Hill on his knees in a fight or in a race. 100 yards, definitely couldn't beat him in a fight. But yeah, I think just such a weird, obscure question, and I really appreciate it because like now I'm like picturing Tyreek Hill because Tyreek Hill's not a big guy. Like Tyreek Hill running on his knees. Just give me a break. Like, what are we doing here? How do you come up with this? What is you?
Good stuff from
We
Joe.
have some listeners, that's for sure. We definitely have some
Yep.
listeners.
Big Dolphins fans. Shout out to the Dolphins, Joe.
Yeah, respect. Hey, Dolphins will have Deshaun Watson the next time we do a podcast. That's my prediction. There you go. We're gonna leave it at that. It's probably not gonna happen. I'm sorry if you're a Dolphins fan and you really want Deshaun Watson. I don't think it's gonna happen. It's really expensive. Uh, well, we have at the blog pound from Instagram says, "Do the Chiefs consider signing Eli for this game?" And I think they have to. I think Saturday night, 9 p.m. rolls around. They announce that Eli Manning has been signed. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see why you wouldn't. I really don't understand why you wouldn't want to bring Eli Manning back, to the NFL for another Super Bowl. Have the ability to, just cap off his amazing career at the top, at the podium, sitting right by Andy Reid. So, I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that. I'm gonna input one of my own questions because I think we forgot to cover one of the biggest sports events of the week, and that was the
this question comes from Donnie at Donnie on the
This is
horn.
a question from me. Arky, what are your thoughts on the Matt Stafford Jared Goff trade?
Wow, funny you asked me this question. I am very interested in this trade because Jared Goff gets traded for a quarterback, obviously a player at the same position, and 2 first-round picks. Like, what do you think Jared Goff thinks? Like, man, everybody, I lost the Super Bowl. I played trash in the Super Bowl. Now everybody hates me. Like, wow, I feel bad for Jared Goff. He was saying, he's like, wow, I'm glad to go to Detroit, and now that maybe they'll like me in Detroit. I don't know. I mean, they had 2 first-round picks. Detroit kind of in an interesting spot. I wasn't too crazy about the Dan Campbell hire, but I know some Lions fans that are excited about Brad Holmes, their new GM. So, I mean, hey, you got a new coach, new general manager. The Lions, it's been a tough year. Tough year. It's been a tough, organization for the Detroit Lions.
Tough
Man,
decade.
It's been tough. Yeah, really, decade. I mean, gosh, been a tough existence. But I like that they were able to add 2 first-round picks. And from a Rams perspective, I mean, man, are they all in? Jeez, man, they trade 2 first-round picks for Jalen Ramsey. They trade 2 first-round picks to upgrade their quarterback position. So Les Snead, their general manager, is so aggressive. He really wants to get the Rams a championship. But I mean, hey, this is their window. I definitely respect that. I mean, they're kind of in a position where I'm kind of on the back half of a dynasty where I watch with the Chicago Blackhawks. Like the Rams, they're like, hey, we got a window right now. We're trying to win. So hey, I respect it. And I think Matt Stafford is a great ad. Obviously, he's been really underrated for a long time, just sitting there in Detroit. So I think he'll do a lot of good things with Sean McVay down there.
Do you buy the whole thought process that Matt Stafford is considerably better than Jared Goff? Like those picks value better than Jared Goff?
That's a very interesting question. I would say definitely at least 1 first-round pick. I guess I could have seen it be like a first and a third, a first and a second, something like that. But it makes sense. I think Jared Goff, he was a limited player with the Rams. They had to do a lot of play action and really kind of had to add a run game around him for them to have some kind of success. So I think it is kind of it obviously it happened, so it makes sense. But if I had to guess it before the trade, I probably would have said like a first and a third. So I guess they probably overpaid a little bit, but you have that positional value with the quarterback. So I wouldn't say I was too surprised about it.
are you excited to see Matt Stafford and Clayton Kershaw plastered over your TV every Sunday?
Oh my gosh, did you know they went to the same high school, Donnie? Oh my gosh.
They went to the same high school. That's for
No
sure.
way.
Literally, you can't get away from that. Even during Dodgers games, like I would hear maybe Oral bring it up every once in a while. Oh, do you know he
Yeah,
was good friends? He was good friends
always.
with Matthew Stafford. It's like, yeah, well, trust me.
I didn't think
Matt,
about that point, but we are going to hear that even more than we already have.
Matt Stafford's going to be buying season tickets to go to Dodgers games when everything's back. Clayton Kershaw's going to be rooting on the Rams. It's really just it's everything's coming together. Unity. We're looking for unity. Yeah, I think we could definitely get back to the questions that we had. One question from Vin at _Chiafalo. One of our good friends. We've profiled him and given him a scouting report before on
We
this
have.
podcast. He says, thoughts on Keandre Miller this far. Have you watched many Rangers games this year?
Yeah, I've watched a decent amount. Obviously, you have a lot more knowledge on Miller than I do, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting, just in general, because I think over time we've seen the Rangers try to develop young players, and it hasn't gone very well. Just especially defensemen in general, their young defensemen don't really develop. We saw they didn't even bring Ryan Graves up, and then he led the league in plus minus last year. He was like a plus 40 player, which is shocking, I think, to say. And then obviously around the league, there's a bunch of ex-Rangers doing much better in other places. But Keandre Miller has been a fantastic addition to a team that absolutely needed any type of help defensively. And I think you don't see very often a guy with that type of stature and that type of strength and that type of skating ability together. I'm not going to say that he's going to be a top defenseman in the league because I'm not exactly sure what his ceiling is, but I think the future looks brighter and brighter every time he plays, and it's an exciting. It's valuable to have that type of maybe not a guarantee, but have that type of talent on your team for long term, where the Rangers are going to be in a cap crunch at some point. Obviously, signing Panarin and guys like that, it's gonna hurt them next year, 2 years from now. So having ELC guys that are ready to step right into the lineup is very important. Let alone the fact that he could develop and do it into a star defenseman, which is huge. There's definitely you're going to take your lumps with young defensemen, and I think you're probably seeing that in Chicago, running basically all young defensemen, or at least 3 or 4 young defensemen at this point. But the growth is important, and getting these guys games is important. I mean, obviously, you can definitely ruin somebody's career by playing them too early, but I think we've established that, at least with the Rangers, Keandre Miller is doing a really, really good job developing, which is surprising considering David Quinn is not very good with the youth. That's a big W. I don't know exactly what I don't know what we're gonna see out of him. That's the thing. It's very hard to analyze ceilings of young players. I feel like, and I'm sure you could say the same. As a Blackhawks fan, literally running like dozens or like a dozen young players in your lineup right now. It's like I'm seeing guys like Kurashev and Suter, as you said, and then obviously the defensemen that they have. And it's like you really don't know what they're gonna be. But man, it's really hard to analyze ceilings of NHL defensemen, I feel like.
Yeah, it really is. And the Blackhawks and Rangers are two very interesting examples of this because the Blackhawks, especially as we're talking about defensemen here, I mean, they brought up Henry Jokiharju after they drafted him in the first round, and they kind of just played him on the top pair with Duncan Keith, and then he didn't get along with Jeremy Colleton, so they traded him away. And then their next first round pick right after that was Adam Boqvist, and they did the exact same thing with him. So it's like it's so incredibly hard to evaluate defensemen when they're so young. But I like that in the Blackhawks cases, they at least gave their players in a position where they could have success. Like, yeah, I would like them playing with Duncan Keith. I would say he's definitely was the Blackhawks' best defenseman for quite some time. So when now where you can shift it over to Keandre Miller and the Rangers, they're kind of in a situation where maybe they're even a little bit better than the Hawks in terms of having Fox and Trouba as two pretty good defensemen. But Miller could kind of be that next guy. I like that they're playing him. He's played over 20 minutes for 4 of the last 5 games here that I'm looking at. And, he's still very young as well. As you mentioned, still just 21 years old, just coming up from college hockey last year at Wisconsin. But I think there's a lot of potential with Miller. As you mentioned, good size, 6'5". So definitely a very young player. Defensemen take a lot of time to develop. But I think you should definitely be encouraged with what you've seen from Miller this year.
Yeah, I think in general, on a bad team, if you watch a bad hockey team, it's very hard to really enjoy it. But what I've figured out is I learn a lot from just watching specific players that I'm interested in rather than watching the entirety of the game and thinking, oh, if they don't score here, they're going to lose all that. If you can analyze certain players, you really grow. You can really see these guys grow as the season goes on. Even Keandre Miller, they're 10 games in, and you've seen from the beginning the little jitters that he had to now. He looks like he's totally comfortable, which is something that I'm sure that the majority of young NHL defensemen cannot say that they're in the least bit comfortable, especially when you have a team like that where the Rangers are so young and just so incredibly. I don't know. There's a lot of variables involved with the Rangers. But I would definitely say that it's something to be happy about, something to be proud of. The fact that they have guys like this in the system, and the best part is Miller wasn't even the top defenseman in the system for a lot of people's prospect analysis. So if you have better than this in the system, it's like that gives you a lot of hope for the future, I would say. I think we could definitely move on to. We have two questions that are definitely odd, I would say. The first comes from Ariel _ sorry, it's Ari. Is the stomach flu actually a flu? Ryan, what do you got for me? You're the analyst here.
I mean, obviously, this is a very intelligent thought. I mean, the name would suggest yes, but I would say the illness would suggest no. So that's how I'm going to answer that.
Okay. I honestly don't know what any of that means, so I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Like stomach flu. Like the name stomach flu would imply that it is a flu, but then if you actually have the stomach flu, it doesn't seem like it would be considered a flu.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I'll go with him. RK seems like he's really done his research on this. Like he has analyzed this tooth and nail.
I didn't know that. I didn't know I was an expert on the stomach flu until I got asked this question. So I'm really excited.
You're actually the medical professional of our group here, of our duo in the podcast. So definitely props to you for that one. But we'll go with his answer. If you have a scientific answer or an explanation, because obviously you have thoughts on this, Ariel, I don't want to fuck up your name. I'm sorry. Please just let us know. Tell us what you're thinking. If you have an explanation that we missed, I want to hear it, because I'm actually intrigued. I have no idea what I'm talking about, so I'm not gonna spew. But yeah, definitely slide in our DMs, give us an explanation. If you don't like what Ryan said, not everybody's gonna like what Ryan said, and it's how it's gonna be. But finally, we get to the final question from Kira. Obviously, Bloodline at Kira320 on Instagram. If the option is available, will you send your firstborn child to live in space? RK, what are we thinking?
No.
Why?
I don't know. I just don't think, I didn't get sent to space when I was born first, Shout out to, neither Kira nor I did this situation occur where our parents were like, all right, you're going to space. So, I don't think I'm going to do that with my kid.
Okay, but what if it's like summer camp? In 20-25 years, summer camp is actually going to the moon instead of going to going to the woods or something, going to the creek. You're not your summer camp is being sent to the moon for a 2
sure. You know what, Donnie? I think that's a great idea. If summer camp's going to the moon, they're going to the moon. I agree with that.
They're playing sports on the moon. Obviously the MF.
Oh my gosh, I want nothing more than my first kid to play kickball on the moon. I really do.
So you have to make the field bigger, obviously. Gravity, kind of an issue there. I'd say yes. This is one obscure thing I would spend money on if I had.
Okay. Okay.
I'm getting my kid ready to fucking go to space. You're living on Mars, brother. I don't know what to tell you. At this point, I don't think we're at. I don't know how close we are to sending normal people to the moon. I really don't. I couldn't tell you. I'm not really. You as the astrology.
Yes, right. I am the doctor and the astrologist of the podcast.
You might have a better idea than I do.
I know.
I literally have no clue how to analyze this one.
I think you need to invest in Tesla a certain amount before you get the answer. That comes in your stocks.
That works?
That's how it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why Tesla's stock's so high.
Right.
Now it makes sense. Okay.
We figured it out.
So what, does Elon come over to you and be like, yeah, moon, no? It's
it's kind of just like a text. It's like that you up text, like, yo, moon.
Oh, really? So he just says a moon question mark, and you just go from there?
You kind of just get the idea after a while, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Fair. And again, I have one last question. I'm going to go back to Josh's question. What do now?
I don't know. What do now? Actually, what do now is Sheck West. That's what's happening right now.
What do now is Sheck West. Absolutely, that was what I was looking for.
Let's go.
Sheck. Come on, man. Figure it out. At this point, it's ridiculous. You know what episode this is, RK? Do you have any idea what episode this is?
Is it 49?
This is episode number 49. We are going to get number 50 next week. What better time to get a guy like Sheck West on here? What better time?
What better time than the present? What a statement from Donnie right there.
I agree. I mean, and again, Sheck West. So now that the invitation has been extended to you, what do now? That's really what I'm looking for.
That's
What
right.
do now, Sheck West? What do
Yeah.
now? But yeah,
he didn't want to go over the pod, or he didn't want to go over the Super Bowl with us. So actually, what we're gonna do is do a Super Bowl recap with Sheck West. So looking forward to that.
Okay, so Sheck didn't want to give his thoughts because
Right.
he didn't want to sway the
Right.
betting lines or anything. Obviously,
Yeah.
That's smart. It's smart. You know, it's you could get government interference by swaying the lines. You know, we don't want to do that. We don't.
No. He's an athlete now. He's a basketball player.
Yeah. You can't be doing that. He's like Pete Rose. He'd be like Pete Rose if he bet. We can't have that.
He's smashing into people at home plate in the All-Star game. You're right.
Yep. Hey, Pete Rose played hard. This is totally off topic, but Pete Rose should be a Hall of Famer. He should be unbanned.
Oh, we've had the discussion. Yeah.
I gotta remind people the baseball Hall of Fame voting just happened and nobody got voted in. How stupid is that? How ridiculous is that?
Awful.
They have 80 people on the ballot.
Oh, don't we just love talking about the MLB, Donnie? Yeah.
The more and more that like shit goes on, the more I dislike the MLB. I think.
I know.
First off, I still don't know if there's a DH.
I love going to baseball games, but talking about the MLB, just like man, like fuck the MLB, bro.
We're delaying our inevitable end of the podcast here, but it's like the more the MLB does things, the less they seem like a competent run league. The less they seem like they actually know what they're doing, and that's sad because the MLB should be the easiest league to run. It's like it's baseball, man. Like you don't have to deal with CTE, you don't have to deal with any of this other bullshit. But yet we have cheating scandals. We don't know the rules yet. The season starts in what a month and a half.
Oh my god!
Spring training is supposed to start.
You're reminding me. AJ Hinch got a job again, and Alex Cora too.
AJ Hinch is in the league. Alex Cora's in the league. These guys were cheating like a year ago. They got in trouble. Now it's
oh my god!
we're
we
back.
gotta end the podcast. Follow us on social media at Roth Podcast.
Yeah. Oh man, the MLB gets me riled up. I'm sorry. Just things happen. But yeah, definitely follow us on Roth on social media, Roth Podcast. You know, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you do listen to us. YouTube. I post the links like 6 days after the podcast was supposed to go up. It got to be better on that one. But you know, I'll definitely work on that for anybody.
Yeah, watch us. YouTube. Yeah.
But with this, we will be signing off. We love all of you for listening. We appreciate the 28 questions we had, even if it is what do now. And we will talk to you again next week.
Peace, everybody.
Rockstar life, so much money, I'll make you laugh. Hey, the bitch they hate, and you can't miss what you never had.